Okay, what up, everyone? It's week 5. It's the NFL Fantasy Today show. I'm your host, Jamo Sales. We got games going on, and let's go. We got Nathan, we got Anthony. It's our Sunday show, so hit us up with questions, comments, everything. So let's kick it off. Nathan, what's shaking? We're all looking at your graph here, trying to figure it out.
Yeah, not too much. Trying to stay afloat. Was able to survive week 4 with no 0-4 teams across the board. So pretty steady. Couple 4-0 teams, couple 3-1. I've got a little bit of everything. So
That's like second place in beauty contest. Oh,
yeah,
I got no 0-4 teams. I mean, congrats. Uh,
we're
sorry.
not dead. We're dead nowhere.
All right, Anthony, what's going with you? I see we got a blurred out game in the back. We can
Oh,
unblur it.
oh no. So I'm in my bedroom. So that's why I usually have it blurred. But yeah, no, I'm just watching the game. Was just actually just checking my best ball. How I'm doing there and whatnot in the eliminator. I've just got one team left, and it has Malik Neighbors on it, so it's probably not too great. But just happy to be here. Hoping for a better week 5 than I had week 4.
Yeah, I've been. I think I went on the Thursday show and bragged about how I had, or Tuesday with my buddy Hambo, and said I didn't have any injuries, and now Bucky's out, Chuba's out, Brock's out. I knew what I was doing, but I couldn't help myself.
I know I'm in a tough spot with Chuba out. I have to start, so I'm starting Woody Marks.
That's not bad. That's good. A lot of
No,
people.
that's good. But so I was starting Marks and Hubbard in my flex spots, and then Hubbard's out, so now I reluctantly have to go back to Chase Brown and hope that the Bengals do something against the Lions. I think so.
Yeah.
Okay, and then yeah, it's so weird. So I was looking at the Lions, Nathan. It's so funny how some of the stats are so like not like correlated.
hmm
Like the Lions are first in EPA per pass, but 31st in neutral pass rate over expected.
hmm
Can you
It,
explain that?
it's not pass rate over expected. It's pass rate amongst the NFL, just by a flat rate.
Okay.
Of percent like in a neutral game script. But they remain such like an efficient, and we've seen like Goff have these games where he has like 20 completions on like 21 attempts with 3 touchdowns and 300 yards. So like that's probably what you're going to see today against the Bengals with this spread.
20 for 21?
It's happened before. He's gone
Okay.
18 for 18.
Wow, okay. Okay, so let's. I don't even know where to start here, but we'll let some questions hopefully build up. Remember, guys, if you're watching on Twitter, come over to YouTube, drop us a like, give it to us all. Brock Bowers. So what's going on? They just said he's probably not going to play, but Michael Mayer's out, so I don't even know who the third tight end is, honestly. But so Bowers got hurt week 1, kind of played through it, hasn't been good. This makes sense, right? Because he's been playing hurt, so now they're going to rest him. What do we think? 1 week, hopefully.
Yeah, it's tough. It sounds like it's just something that will only heal if he stays off it, and he was refuting to do that early on, so it probably made it worse than it was even initially. Um, um, they're activating Albert O from the practice squad to be our starting tight end. No look there. I expect Bowers to be out at least 1 week, but he's still, even if he comes back next week, I wouldn't expect him to be 100%.
Great. When's the Raiders bye week?
Week 8.
Wow, Anthony, you had that quick.
Best ball will do that to you. And I was actually going, because I've been thinking about that. I was going to ask, like, at this point, like, I don't, and Nathan, maybe you're more plugged into the Raiders than me, but like, I wouldn't be overly shocked. Like, if it's a bad enough injury, like they might just hold him out through the week 8 bye and just have him healthy for the second half of the season. Like, is that an option? Does it seem like, if you've heard anything specifically from the Raiders beat?
I don't know if I haven't heard anything specifically, but I'm not like the most tapped in with my own team either.
So that's what happens when
But
you're a Raiders fan, I guess.
yeah, but that said, I wouldn't be surprised at all. This team, like especially if we come out with a loss and we wind up 1-4 after this game, it's the season might already be over. Not that they had high expectations this season anyway.
I feel like they did. I mean, brought in Genti, brought in Gino. I mean, a
Yeah,
lot of people were saying they, That division's
Yeah.
tough, but a lot of people had them kind of dark horse playoff game.
Yeah, I didn't think that they had Super Bowl aspirations, but yeah, I could definitely see people have maybe thought that they could have been competing for a wild card spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just so tough with this AFC West too to
Yeah.
try and overcome those three. But hopefully Michael Mayer at least is able to clear concussion because I think he's just out with
I think so.
his
Concussion.
concussion right now. Hopefully they at least get some look at him next week because he would at least be full go, assuming that it's just a concussion he can shake off next week.
Okay, well, we're just doing each other's team. So, Anthony, I feel like that Malik Neighbors injury was like 3 weeks ago. I guess I've just been doing too many pods and I can't keep track. But I guess it was last week. Have you been on since?
Have I been what?
Oh, you haven't been on the pod since the injury, right?
No, I haven't. No, I did. I didn't even think I did last Sunday. So no, this is first time I get to talk about it, I guess. And not a whole lot to say. He's out for the year. Not that the Giants had high hopes, but like it's just completely over. If it wasn't before, I don't really know what they're going to do at wide receiver at this point, and it definitely affects Jackson Dart, who he only threw for 111 yards, but he looked pretty good, I think, overall in his first start, all things considered. Added some rushing floor. It was looking like he might have been able to be in the QB2 or streaming consideration a lot this season, but without Malik Neighbors, that looks tough. Like it just brings down the entire offense. Skatebow takes a hit because there's not a lot to worry about in the passing game now. So it's
Who?
It's not Skatebow.
Oh, Scabo. Is it Scabo? Scadaboo sounds like such a cooler way to pronounce it.
I've always heard Scadaboo.
Is it Scadaboo? Well, either way, the rookie running back, right? It affects him because, like I said, Malik Neighbors was the guy like you were. That's the guy you worried about on this Giants offense. Without that, I mean, they can really stack the box, and you can probably handle Darius Slayton and Wan'Dale Robinson one-on-one. And I mean, so it's just tough all around for the Giants offense at this point.
But so what are we doing? Like, so let's just get the Dart. For some reason, I can never remember his name, even though he's got such a great name. In terms of the backup QBs, would you start him as your QB2 over every other backup? Like we got Dylan Gabriel, he's got a touchdown. Carson Wentz is also playing, but I think Cam Akers threw the touchdown. Right, we got a bunch of backup QBs, but he's probably got the highest rushing floor. Jane Daniels is back, so Mariota's out.
Yeah, I think he's better than a lot of the backup quarterbacks, and I'm sure I'm missing one in my head because there seems to be like 10 of them starting at this point in the season. But yeah, I still think he's better than at least the names you mentioned. I think he's probably better than Wentz, who had one good game, and it's just kind of been a little tough. I think he's probably better than Browning just because the rushing floor. Although maybe not this week, but you think that the Bengals offense is just so talented that he'd be able to do something here at some point. But yeah, I think Dart's probably going to end up being like a back end QB2 ish for most of the season. But as far as the receivers, I mean, Wandale's probably the guy you want just because he is a target hog and he's a target earner, unlike Slayton. So I'd imagine they're just going to look to him a bit more. Slayton obviously gets a bump. And then we'll just have to see what they do as far as signing somebody off the practice squad, any free agents, if they maybe want to make a trade. Nathan, you're a Raiders fan. I would like the Giants to at least inquire about Jacoby Myers. He wanted out. I know your offense is looking tough, so he might not be available, but I think that's worth a phone call. I don't think that would be too expensive. And the biggest thing, I know I'm kind of rambling a bit, right? But I think the biggest thing for the Giants at this point is I don't want Jackson Dart's growth to be like stunted because they just have nothing for him to work with, right? We saw the big jump and I know comparing everyone to Josh Allen, it's the anomaly, right? But they had nobody his rookie season. And then they go out and get Stephon Diggs and he makes that huge leap. So I think that that's just so important that although, look, the Giants don't have Super Bowl aspirations. They're probably not even a playoff team. But I just think you have to go get somebody that's reliable. You can't you just can't go get some guy that's in street clothes right now and think that that's best long term, even at least in my opinion.
What an opinion.
Yeah, sort of a long-winded answer, but
But Slayton is a guy that seems like he does step up in when he gets that wide receiver
yep.
one role. It's like he can't be a wide receiver two, but I think he's 32, so he's up there. But I don't know. I feel if Russell Wilson was playing, I feel like Slayton would almost be a must start.
It's a moon ball.
Just with the dart, with maybe his 150 yards, kind of his ceiling for passing. It's just weird. But Scadaboo still must start, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he got over 70% of the snaps or the running back carries. Yeah, I think he's still a must start. Obviously, downgraded from like a solid like RB2 to maybe like a back end RB2 flex play, but I think he's still a good start just because the volume that he's getting.
Tracy's doubtful.
He's not going to play.
He's
I
not
can't
gonna play.
imagine Tracy plays it. I can't imagine Tracy plays next week either. But
Okay. Well, so we got a couple of the weird running back rooms. Trey Benson, Jay Connor out, Trey Benson out. So now, Nick, I'll give you this to you. We got Dan McCardo and Michael Carter. What are you doing there? Because both were kind of on the wire. I think I picked up one of each in almost every league. Who are you playing?
Yeah, I think they're both kind of in the same tier. I think they said they're going to ride the hot hand in the backfield. I kind of prefer Michael Carter because he should get the early down work, and I think he'll have the more of a chance to get the hot hand. But and with the Cardinals being I think they're 7.5-point favorites against Tennessee. I think that role is probably going to be utilized more than what DeMarcado brings as the primary third down back.
Okay, and then because if we look to your thing, so the Titans are terrible at running back points allowed, right? Wide receiver points allowed. They're just not really a good defense. Okay, and then there's another. We got some JCM questions because he's back, but we got Chris Rodriguez, Jeremy McNichol. Anthony, there's another running back room I'm not thinking about. We got Ty Spears back. Would anyone play him?
in a pinch, maybe. But I think ideally you don't. But with the bye weeks and all the injuries, I don't think he's the worst start in the world.
Oh, Tampa, right? Tampa, another one, right? We got Rashad White's going to probably. They said he's going to take most of the carries, but we've seen that they also go to Sean Tucker. Everyone's spent White over Tucker, but would anyone like Tucker? You need Jaden Blue. They said is going to be suited up because Miles Sanders is probably out.
Yeah, as far as Tucker goes, I think in a deep league, he did have I think it was last season. He had a couple big games. One of them was over like 130 yards, I think, just off the top of my head. So I think again in a pinch, I mean, it's probably ranked somewhere in the RB 40s, reasonably so. But he's shown that he can break off big plays. He can be really productive when given a chance. So, and not the worst start, but obviously somebody that you're not starting over some other guys, like even like a Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt, and that like you're not starting him over those guys. But in deep leagues and in a spot, you can probably get away with it.
Okay. Nathan, anything bad there?
No, I think that's a pretty sound take. I would start Tucker in a deeper league, but not much else there. I think White's going to see 70% of the touches.
Okay. So what do we do with some of the teams? Like we've got this Dolphins-Panthers game, both probably bad defense, but the Panthers 2 weeks ago shut out the Falcons, and then last week gave up 52 to the Pats. Does Carolina with the good defense, bad defense, like with Dolphins, good offense, bad offense? What would you do? In this situation. Nathan, I'll go to you.
It's almost like a light get everyone in game, but with like a less appealing one, maybe like a dark horse get everyone in game. Sharp's on the under though, but I think there's a lot of just intriguing fantasy guys that you'd want to start against bad matchups. Like you get Devon Achane against the Panthers, rush defense. He's going to be catching so many passes. Ted McMillan is a guy you want to get in. Even Tommy Tremble. The Dolphins allow the second most fantasy points to tight end, and the Panthers are fifth in tight end fantasy usage this season. So if you need like a streaming tight end option, he's coming off. I think he had 5 for 8 and 42 and a touchdown last week. So he's kind of like the second option right now behind Tet, and they're going against the Dolphins this week. So that's maybe a sneaky play there.
Okay, and then because it's funny because I'm looking at your here. We got the Dolphins are 31st in fantasy tight end usage, but then Darren Waller scored 2 touchdowns last week, right?
Mhm.
So do you throw that stat away and just ride with the Waller hot hand?
Yeah, I think totally. I feel like they weren't playing with the tight end the first 4 or 3 weeks of the season, so I think that usage is completely like an anomaly. And he's probably going to be the second best option on the team, maybe interchangeable with Malik Washington, but even he's going to lose snaps to Nick Westbrook-Akine and wide receiver in 2 wide receiver sets.
Okay, yeah. So Anthony, we had the Tyreek Hill injury, which isn't quite the neighbor's injury, but that Waddle gets the promotion. Obviously, he's must start. Are you bumping up that Westbrook Akini or the Malik Washington? Because Washington kind of get some rushes too.
Yeah, so in the off season, I was more so on Westbrook Akine. He had that incredible season last year with the touchdown rate. Malik Washington didn't really do a whole lot to inspire his rookie season. Clearly, they brought in some competition, but I've kind of flipped. I think that I'd go with Malik Washington. Obviously, he's been the one. He's been the third wide receiver they've used more times than not. He's explosive, John. Like you said, they get him some carries. I give a pretty decent bump to Malik Washington, at least before we see what they do without Tyreek with a full week to game plan for it. Um, Washington is the guy that I would prefer there. I think even over Waller, but maybe I'm just scarred from Waller's time as a Giant. But
That's fair. Okay, and then lastly, all right, I see some questions building up, so we're gonna get to them. Who would you guys start at QB? Let's say if it was super flex and they're your second QB, Tua or Bryce.
Probably
You have to pick one.
yeah. Probably Tua. I think that's really close. I'm starting Bryce Young in the league because I have Michael Penix on bye, but probably Tua. I think we've just seen the big games. I know Tyreek's not there, but Waddle's still good. He'll throw it to Achan, 15 times if he feels like it. So I'd still go Tua. But man, that's almost a coin flip, I think.
Okay, Nathan, anything there? Bryce is gonna run, Tua doesn't run,
Yeah.
but down Tyreek. But also Chuba was really good in the receiving game. I know Dowdle's more just of a kind of a run first running back.
Yeah, so I think that with the Panthers already possessing the third highest neutral pass rate, and then losing Chuba Hubbard on top, I think Bryce could see a ton of passing attempts in this one, and just seeing a ton of volume against the Dolphins defense. As long as they can stop the Dolphins pass rush, I think that Bryce should have like a borderline QB1 game.
Wow. Okay. Okay. I'm getting a little feedback. Is that I don't know what audio
I
feedback
can
here.
hear it too.
I'd imagine that's probably me.
Okay. See if we can deal with that. Okay. Let's jump to some questions here. All right. Jason DeSmet says start Krosky Merritt or Sharps. Okay. Anthony, I'll go to you. What do we? So both. Sharps is kind of the RB2, but he gets more carries. He got. These backup running backs are getting the goal line carries for some reason. So what would you do here? Just start with the matchup. Like which matchup do you like better? Seattle's
Boy.
playing Tampa. Washington's playing
Seattle. No. Who is Washington playing? Why don't I?
the Chargers.
Yeah, so I definitely like the matchup with the Bucks better. The Chargers are just a really good defense. I'd probably think oh boy, maybe lean. I think I'd actually lean Charbonnet. The matchup, Washington is just kind of using all three running backs, and I mean their offense just hasn't looked great. I know Jane Daniels missed a couple of weeks, but it just hasn't looked very great. It's they're going up against a good defense. I think I might just hope that Charbs gets in the end zone or gets a little more utilization than he has. Just on a better offense too.
Nathan, you could, according to your chart, both are kind of middling in running back points allowed. But I know that a different chart I was looking at, Tampa, at least last week, was like number 1 EPA against the run. They're really stout up front there.
I think that's just the Vita Vea effect. Like if you can't, you have to run outside the tackles if you're going against Tampa Bay, And I think that's where Seattle's strongest offensive linemen are, is their tackles, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
I know.
their whole thing is that zone rush, right? So
Mhm.
they like to go outside, but Charbonnet really hasn't been that effective. They're not really checking down, right? They're really throwing downfield, and
Mhm.
Charbonnet is really getting like 12 carries for like 30 yards. So,
Mhm.
do you have a lean here? I'd probably go Charbs, but it's pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's really close, and it's tough to bank on Charbonnet getting a touchdown against that Tampa front.
Okay. So, all right, guys, anyone, if you're on Twitter, come over to YouTube so you can drop a question, drop a like to let us know. Trades, start sits, because it's crazy. I think everyone's starting some weird players. I'm starting Jaden Blue in a league, and I hate it because I'm desperate. Okay, Ezekiel Ruiz says, Flex, do we know how to pronounce this? I won't say Anthony because he can't pronounce his own guy.
Uh,
Iomanar?
Iomanor.
So you don't know, you're just reading it like I am?
Well, I think it's one of those, Iomanor or Iomanor.
Okay, so those are pretty close. Okay, or Sharp. So ready to the wide receiver 2 on Tennessee. I mean, I'm not playing anyone on Tennessee if I can help it, right? I think this is easy.
Yeah, the Titans have just been so bad that it almost just doesn't matter. Like, I mean, the rookie I think he got a touchdown in his first 2 weeks, but I mean, I'd probably still go Sharps.
Right? Titans 31st EPA per play, 31st EPA per pass. It's just that's pretty ugly, but
Yeah, I think. Yeah, it's tough. Like Calvin Ridley's gonna play this game. He's coming in completely. He was questionable all week, I'm pretty sure. So effectively, Iamana should be like the top target for Tennessee. But what does that give you? You know,
like the
it's
matchup's not bad because Arizona's been good against the
mhm.
run. The secondary's not any good, but Cam Ward will figure it out. I think so, but I hate betting on a guy who's been terrible to be good
Yeah,
for no reason other than hope.
yeah. Cardinals are fifth in pass rush run rate with Calais Campbell running up, and then the Titans have
Place
allowed the
Campbell,
most
he's like
sacks.
38.
He's still a menace. It's crazy.
Okay. Okay, James Joyner, full PPR, 2 running backs, 2 flex. Am I really playing Woody Marks, Dowdle, Coleman, and Rashad White over Henderson and Harvey? Okay, great question. I mean, Woody Marks scored 2 touchdowns last week. Dowdle, I actually love. I thought he was really good for Dallas this year, and so I think he's going to be really effective. And he's fresh, where he's not. Some of these other guys are banged up. Rashad White, kind of same thing. Anthony, so over Henderson and Harvey? Harvey had a good game this week. Bad matchup this week. Henderson, is about boom or bust.
Yeah, so I think I'd go ahead and start 4 running backs here. I just don't. I'm not a big Coleman guy. He had 1 week. It would really just be Henderson, like you said, Henderson or Harvey, and that's kind of a tough question. I don't know who I'd go there. Nathan, would you go Henderson or Harvey, or are you just starting Coleman? Because I think I'm definitely benching Coleman. I just don't know who for.
I think it's Henderson or Coleman of the two. And I would probably play Coleman, but I'd take Henderson over Harvey.
Okay, so John, what do you think then?
It's tough because it's the eternal question, right? We've got the Bills heavy favorites versus the Pats, so maybe that means they'll be running the ball late, right? And then Henderson, so is he going to get the carries? But I feel like the Bills are really bad at limiting these explosive run plays, or even to the 2 running backs. So I feel like it's a nice spot for Henderson. RJ Harvey, I think he scored last week, but I don't really trust his usage. I mean, I think Woody, Dowdle, and Rashad White lock that in, right? That's easy money. And then so Coleman, but it's like that Thursday game, right? San Fran Rams heavy favorites. We had the Thursday pod, and you're like, okay, game script. Obviously, Rams going to be up, so then Max got to throw it. But what happened? Football, right? And the Niners were up and hanging in the whole game, so it kind of gets flipped. So I think the Pats can hang around with the Bills. I love the Bills, but I don't trust their defense. So I'd probably lean Henderson.
I do just want to make one more note. I guess since you're starting really 3 backup running backs, you're probably in some sort of trouble this week. And if you're, projected to lose by like 15 points, then I actually do think I start Coleman just for that high upside. that he does provide. So if you're down by a lot, then I actually do think Coleman's the play. But if it's projected to be pretty tight, then yeah, I'd probably go with Henderson over Coleman.
Like Henderson got 7 carries last week. He scored. He got 2 grabs. Like he was second in running back carries, but that game was kind of a mess, right? Because they were up so big.
I think Henderson and Harvey are both trending up. I just think Dobbins creates more of a roadblock than Ramondre does.
Yeah, that's a good point too, right? And then but also I don't really want to I don't like playing against that Philly defense. So I'd rather play against the Bills. So yeah, I go Henderson. And honestly, I get it. Am I really playing all these backup running backs? But they're backup running backs who are really starting running backs. I think it's not the worst situation. I got worse situations on my teams. I'd be happy to have to.
Oh yeah, this is your situation with injuries and buys. Like you ended up in the best possible spot.
Yeah. So okay, let's keep going. Ryan, good morning. Good morning, my man. Hard to sit my side, but Chase or Keenan Allen. Imagine having to think about this in week 1, right? You probably get kicked out of your league. But week 5, I mean, Nathan, I go to your chart. Number 1 wide receiver usage, number 1 over the neutral pass rate. Keenan had got a down game last week, but what do we do? Are we just going to bet on Chase? Chase has been black 5 in a row. Is he going to be red?
So my take on Jamar Chase in this game is that I think that he is going to bounce back in this game. The Lions allow the 3rd highest time to throw in the league, and but they're really good, or they're above average in average target separation allowed, and that tells me that they are getting a lot of coverage stops when they're rushing the pass. And by that nature, I think Jamar Chase is just the best player on the football field, and he'll be able to get separation against these Lions defensive backs, and the time to throw will be there to get it to him. So I think he should smash this week.
Oh, wow.
Throwing all game long.
Hold on. I gotta. So you. Let me make sure I'm understanding this correctly. You said the Lions allow like the 3rd most time to throw. Is that what you said?
I believe so. I'll try and pull it up real quick.
Okay. So then my question, while you pull up, my question for you is, do we know where the Bengals rank in like giving the quarterback time to throw? Because this Bengals defensive or offensive line is probably the worst in the league. So this might be one of those stoppable objects, immovable force kind of deals where, like, I don't know. I just don't. I think I would probably start Keenan Allen. I just can't trust the Bengals right now. And I know it's Jamar Chase, but like Jamar Chase has been shut out since Joe Burrow has been out. And I just can't do it against the Lions defense, who I think is still a good defense, despite, the stat you brought up. I just don't. And I hate to say that because, like, it's Jamar Chase, right? Like, he was the 101. Like, he was the 101. Unless you wanted Bijan, like, he was the 101.
But yeah, if we're doing matchup, right? The Commanders are good against the run, bad against the pass. Atlanta just let them up. Drake London had his breakout game, versus the Commanders. So I kind of like. I think you go Keenan. Especially are you 1-3 because Chase has been screwing you. You need points. Like, we know the Chargers are going to throw. Keenan's going to be involved. And, I guess worst case scenario, Chase goes off, and then you get to start on the rest of the season and not worry about it. But, like, I just hate betting against a bad streak and just hoping. But, Nathan, if you're saying, like, if you're putting your name on the line, your reputation on the line, saying Chase is going to be back.
Imagine being torn on putting your reputation online and saying, "Yeah, Jamar Chase will have a good game today."
Yeah, you know what? I think
that feels horrible. But
the Bengals are, for what it's worth, I found out the Bengals are 21st in average time to throw, so not
the worst. Okay, wow, that's really surprising.
But how much of that is weighted by Joe Burrow making time to throw that Jake Browning wouldn't? I don't know.
It's so crazy looking at your chart. The Bengals 2nd at neutral pass, but 32nd in EPA per play, 28th in wide receiver usage. It's just like they're throwing all the time, but it just goes nowhere, right? It's just check down city.
I saw that ugly stat that Noah Fant was like 2nd in the entire league in target share. I think he had like a
Jesus.
36.5% target share or something like that.
I don't blame you if you start Chase Brown or Jamar Chase here though. Like I completely don't blame you.
Yeah, I have him in a few leagues, so maybe I had to dig for something to hold on to. But
no, that's a good little nugget though, and I'll be a little less surprised if the Bengals actually do something now that I know.
Okay, so what about next Higgins? So if we're starting Keenan Allen over Chase, I mean, is anyone starting T Higgins? Like,
I have to start him somewhere. It's in one of our leagues. I don't know if it's our internal or the invitational, but I'm starting him somewhere, and I don't like. I think I also have Lad McConkey on that team, so like that's been a real bummer for me.
I trust that the line will hold up enough for Browning to get to his first read, and I don't know that he'll have enough to get to T Higgins every time.
Because this could just be the Aiden Hutchinson, eating Jake Browning game, right? So I mean, great question, but I mean, I don't know. I honestly, I think I'd start Keenan Allen because it's a win-win. Either Keenan Allen's great or Jamar Chase is great on your bench, and then at least he's done something, right? Worst case, it would be worse than starting Chase. He goes 3 for 30 again, no touchdowns. Keenan Allen goes 6 for 75 and a touchdown. It's like, definition of insanity. I don't know. Sometimes the only way to get Chase going is to bench him.
That's what it feels like in fantasy sometimes. As soon as you put the guy on the bench.
So, all right, Evan Gittleman, my man, what up? Flex Hell, half PPR. Thank you, Travis Hunter, Kendrick Miller, Trey Tucker. Okay, well, I had my buddy on Tuesday, and he was all in on Kendrick Miller. So, but the Nathan Trey Tucker has he had the 3 touchdown game, but Gino washed, and then Travis Hunter kind of got involved last week. But this is a lot of hopes and prayers. All right, Nathan, you got a lead here?
I'll just speak on Trey Tucker real quick, I guess. I think that he'll be an okay play if the line can hold up, but we just lost Colton Miller, and I have no idea what that's going to look like for for Gino, who's already looked ugly under center.
But also with no Brock, right?
Yeah, no Brock, and it's a great matchup. Xavier and Howard just retired midseason for the Colts, and Kenny Moore is going to be out in this game.
At least it wasn't mid-game this time.
Yeah. Colts got something about that secondary. They just cursed. But a couple holes in the Colts secondary, which has already been pretty bad as is. And so the openings will be there, but can the Raiders line hold up enough to let Gino throw it? I don't know.
Okay. Anthony?
So I'm not starting Travis Hunter. I know that. Nathan, if I'm reading your chart correctly here, the Chiefs are bottom 10 matchup for your wide receivers to face in fantasy, as they're 8th in wide receiver points allowed. Travis Hunter, I know they've kind of tried to play on both sides a little bit. It's just been tough to get him going. They've tried to feed him. It's just not really coming to fruition. So for Travis Hunter, like, he's on my bench until I see it. To me, it doesn't really matter. And it's not even a good really matchup this week. So then we get to Trey Tucker and Kendrick Miller. I would probably start Trey Tucker. I know Nathan spoke about him a lot. So I will at least make a case for Kendrick Miller. The Giants are not very good at defending the run.
28th, yeah.
Yeah, like they're just not very good. You would think, they have Dexter Lawrence, like, he's plugging up the middle. That's great. He's the only guy they have that's plugging up the middle, though. And so you double team him, and you can make some way around it. Our pass rush is great. Run game is bad. So Kendrick Miller could definitely pop, especially if they don't want to ride Alvin Kamara into the ground. Maybe he's going to get traded potentially. He's a hot name, at least coming up to the trade deadline. So I'd probably go Trey Tucker, but I'm definitely keeping an eye on, and I'm interested in Kendrick Miller.
Yeah, like Miller was 11 rushes for 65 yards and a touchdown. He was 5.9 yards per carry, where Kamara was 4.7. That was versus the Bills. That's another reason why I like that Travian Henderson. Bills can't stop the run, and the Bills were up, but like Saints shouldn't even been running. So I like the Pats to hang around, and I like Travion to break one. But Kendrick Miller looks good. He's working his way into almost like a timeshare. I guess it's just one. So Kendrick Miller, Trey Tucker. I mean, half PPR. I don't know. Maybe I'd go Trey Tucker just because Brock's out.
I feel like Tucker is the ceiling play here, and Miller is your floor play.
Yeah, that's probably right. Okay.
I like describing it that way. So whichever you need, really.
Okay, Sim says full PPR flex one. Brian Thomas Jr., Rico Dowdle, or Chris Godwin. Wow.
I really want to say Rico Dowdle here. Like, I just really want to just straight up say Rico Dowdle. We talked about the matchup with the Jags in the previous question with Travis Hunter. Brian Thomas Jr. is the monster, though, but almost like Travis Hunter, they just haven't been able to get it going. For whatever reason, Trevor Lawrence is just really bad at passing to those two guys, but pretty good at passing to everybody else. We talked about the matchup with Miami earlier a bit. They're just not a very good defense. I really like Rico Dowdle this week.
Yeah, it's funny, right? The Jags are 6th in wide receiver usage, but yet the 2 wide receivers that everyone took are like drastically underperforming, right? Fantasy's crazy. What about Godwin? I think he had 10 targets, but only brought down maybe 3 or 4 last week. That first week back from injury is the one you never really want to bank on. But with Evans out, Baker was a little banged up, but also with Bucky out, I feel like Godwin is still a stud. Do we bet on him this week?
I like Godwin this week, but I like Dowdle more. I think it's a safer and maybe even higher ceiling play.
Okay, yeah. I'm in with Dowdle. I like Dowdle a lot, right? Dolphins are the 26th in running back points allowed, so you can run all day on Miami, right? So okay, so Dowdle, easy Dowdle. I mean, that's funny. You took Brian Thomas Jr. probably 11th. You took Godwin maybe in the 7th round as a stash, but really because he's got upside. And then you just picked up Dowdle 2 days ago, and now you're playing him over your potential first-round pick.
I mean, the Panthers have a pretty good, or I should say really good, top 10 run block win rate. They're top 12 as far as running back fantasy usage. So, I mean, Rico Dowdle is in a prime spot this week.
Okay. All right, Jason Ortiz with a quadruple question here. Okay. What tight end to start this week? Oh, tight ends. They've been my nemesis. This week or rest of the season. Okay, Zach Ertz. I think that's David Njoku, Mason Taylor. You got Fields. That's like the worst stack in the history. Or Theo Johnson. Okay. Anthony. Theo Johnson. Did one of you guys just pick up Theo Johnson and drop Juwan Johnson?
I did. I picked up Theo to stack with Jackson Dart in this game, but not necessarily. I believe that's the same league that I lost Kittle in, so I'm just riding streamers in that league. But Theo Johnson is going to hold it down this week for me.
But this is Ertz, right? This is easy, Zach Ertz, right?
This week it's Ertz with Jaden Daniels back. Debo's the number 1 receiver, and there's a bunch of rookies and second-year guys behind him. Debo's hurt himself with the heel injury.
Do we know Debo's going to play? I missed anything if it came out, but I know he was questionable.
What about Terry? Is Terry out?
Terry's out. Terry's out. Noah Brown is out. And yeah, it's just Debo, Jalen Lane, and Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah, this is an easy Ertz this week then, for sure.
Okay, rest of season. I mean, I guess if Ertz stays healthy, but Ertz is old, right? Fannin just scored. I like Njoku. Mason Taylor's a rookie. Ertz rest of season if he stays healthy. But
I feel like Ertz with Jaden Daniels is like an automatic tight end 1. And I would just honestly just ride that out until you have to start streaming again, because I don't see tight end 1 rest of season upside in any of these guys.
Okay. All right. So next part 2, Jason Ortiz. Start 1, Rashad White, Wandale Robinson, my brain, Khalil Shakir, Rico Pollard, Spears back, good, Amari Carter split. Okay, what a detailed question. Nice job. I assume it's the same league. Okay, what are we doing? Start 2. Anthony, is there first?
Rico. Yeah, I'm just gonna just Rico Dowdle. I think is the clear one for me, and then
Wait, why is he clear over Rashad White? Because it's kind of the same thing, right?
Yeah, we've seen again. I think that they're gonna sprinkle in Trey Tucker.
Sean Tucker.
Panthers don't really, or not Sean Tucker. Excuse me. The Panthers, their second running back, I guess, this week is Trevor Etienne, who is a rookie, hasn't really done a whole lot. And we talked about how much the Panthers love to use their running backs. They're successful doing it. Rashad White, it's a tougher matchup. And again, we've seen them use some other running backs as well when Bucky Irving is out. So White is definitely in consideration here for me with Shakir and Rondale Robinson for the second guy, though. I just don't know which one I'd lean at the moment out of those three. But
Does it
I'm not
matter
gonna.
PPR, half PPR, standard? Like if it's full PPR, does White get a nice bump because he's probably going to get 4 or 5 receptions, right? Whereas Rico probably won't.
I'll be honest. If it's a full PPR, Wanda Robinson gets the biggest bump for me.
Okay.
So if it's full PPR, I probably lean Wandale to pair with Rico. But half PPR, I think it's maybe Rashad White. I like Shakir though too. He hasn't been terribly disappointing this year. He's been solid, I think.
Okay, and Nathan, you did the running back rankings, but you kind of did them before we knew that all these guys would be out, right?
Mm-hmm. I done them right when the things started looking rough for Chuba, so I already had Dowdle bumped up into the RB2 range. But I think this is an easy White and Rico for me. Wandale is interesting in full PPR, but I think it's still, no matter the format, I still think it's the two running backs.
Okay, yeah, I probably agree. Okay, and then we got another one. So we got White, Rico, Javante. So does Javante get a big bump? I mean, he's been great, right? With put Miles out, that doesn't really matter. But I mean, you have to start Javante Williams, right?
Yeah, for me here, it's Javante and Rico. They're just the two guys that I think are going to be the workhorse. I think Rashad White is definitely get more of the work than Sean Tucker would. I'm just not sure that that's going to be like a workhorse type role. And I really think Javante has been. And I don't see why Rico wouldn't be this week.
Okay. So we're that Arizona situation, everyone's kind of staying away from, I guess. One more, Jason. Okay, Pittman, Rico, Chubb. It just keeps upping the Rico stakes. I mean, Chubb probably out, so it's Pittman or Rico. I think Adonai Mitchell is going to play, but be limited. He had a kind of a monster game and let down in the same play.
This is where
your guy. This is putting your.
I like both these. These are both kind of my guys, Pittman and Rico. This is I think probably where you're getting really close to the line. I'd go Michael Pittman. One eye closed, Michael Pittman.
Okay.
He's like the wide receiver 14 so far this season. It's a good matchup against the Raiders. I think I go Pitt. This might be the line. This might be the Rico line for me.
Nathan, what about you? You agree?
I wholeheartedly agree that the Colts should wipe us, but I really like Rico this week.
I know, I do too. Like this is a real struggle. This one.
Okay, so let's play. What running back? Where's Rico in the running back kind of thing? Like, would you start J.K. Dobbins or Rico?
Rico because of the matchup.
Scattaboo?
I'd probably start Scattaboo over Rico.
Kamara?
Probably Rico.
Woody Marks? Against the Ravens?
I'm playing Woody.
Okay. That's okay. Tyler, what up? Hey, start 3 PPR. ATN, Waddle, Olave, Rashad White, Monty. Okay. Anthony, who's number one? Who's
start 3?
Waddle?
Yeah. Waddle, I think Waddle, Travis Etienne.
This is a good problem to have.
And then I think it's between White. Oh man, because Monty plays the Bengals. Wow, this is so. I'm gonna go ahead and say my 2 are Etienne and Waddle, and then you're in a really good spot here. What do you guys think for the? Or if one of you guys would bench Etienne or Waddle, I just don't know that I would do that. Etienne's been insane, and we expect Waddle to just really take over.
I think you're on the right track there, Monty. If Detroit's running, Gibbs will kind of sit down for Monty. What do we got? Bengals 31st to running back points allowed. Like get in all your running backs. I think about the third line running back, whatever that is.
Craig Reynolds.
Milwaukee, Craig Reynolds. Who is it?
I'm not sure. One of those two.
Yeah, I know it was Craig Reynolds for a little while. It might be Milwaukee now, a little second-year player.
Okay, Nathan. So are we all aligned here? ATN, Waddle, Monty.
Yeah, I would try and start all 5 of these guys, but that's the top 3.
Okay. This is the last question. We'll go for a few more minutes, and then if there's no more questions, we're going to wrap it up. All right, Gerard, PPR, Waller, Mason Taylor, Fields stack potential. I don't even know if that's a good thing because Fields isn't going to throw and Mason Taylor's not really going to catch. This is Waller all day, right?
It's the Cowboys defense for the Jets that they're going against too, so that's not the worst idea to have the who's probably the number 2 receiving option now for the Jets, kind of just de facto because they have no real receiving talent beyond Garrett Wilson. And there's also no Braylon Allen now, so that's going to shrink some of the opportunity share too. So it's not a bad look, but I'd probably go Waller in that matchup against the Panthers. They're still allowing the 5th most fantasy points to tight ends, and Waller should be the number 2 option in a better passing game.
Okay. Anthony?
I think I kind of like Mason Taylor here. His usage has been going up. I was looking up his targets and whatnot. So he's had like 1, 1, 6, and 7. So they're really kind of ramping up his usage. I think he had a high ankle sprain or some sort of ankle sprain in the preseason. So that could have been why, or the offseason. So that could have been why he got off to a bit of a slower start. There was, I think, a lot of potential and a lot of hype around him coming into fantasy, at least late before the injury. So maybe we're just seeing that he's past it and he's the second guy here. Something in me just can't allow. I just can't trust Darren Waller. So I think I'd go Mason Taylor here. The matchup with Dallas is great. You do have the field stack as well, so that's my lean here is Mason Taylor.
Taylor's probably a lot safer. Waller will be more volatile if you're looking for an option beyond this week too.
And I know Waller just made his debut last week, so like grain of salt here. But I think I saw a stat where he only had 12 snaps, I think, or something. Like ran 12 routes or 12 like total snaps. So again, grain of salt. He made his debut, so they're easing him in. But
you said Waller only ran 12 routes?
Yeah, or like had like 12 snaps. It was like he just happened to have 2 touchdowns.
Holy crap.
So again, I'm sure that they're going to start to expand that, but you just didn't maybe they have a plan that whether Tyreek is out or not, like 12 was the number last week. Maybe it's 15 this week. It's still not like a lot to bank on. So I think I just maybe want to wait to see that he's going to maybe be more of a featured role before I trust it. Whereas Mason Taylor, I think like I said, 6 and 7 targets the past 2 weeks. Like I think we're kind of there where we're seeing like, okay, like his role is now evolving with Waller. Other than the 2 touchdowns, which are really unpredictable, like I just don't know yet.
Okay, so a couple of little updates here, right? We got Carson Wentz is questionable to return. So some guy Max Brosmer is a QB.
Oh wow, yeah, that second half just started.
And then also they said DeMarcado is going to be staying in the same role. So if anyone who's thinking Michael Carter, DeMarcado, it sounds like Michael Carter's the RB1. DeMarcado is the wide receiver 2 for the passing network. So
Wentz is out there, by the way.
Oh, nice. So if you're deciding between the 2, I think you go Michael Carter first. Mama Bear knows well. Okay.
Mama Bears do.
Funny name. Okay, between Bo Nix and Drake May, who do y'all think has a better chance of dropping a big game? Bo plays Eagles, Drake plays Bills. Well, thank you. I think we knew that, but sometimes we don't. This is easy money, right? She says her heart says Drake, so hopefully so does your brain, right? I mean, I love this Drake May matchup. He's wide receiver 3 or 4 in the season. I don't think the Bills' defense is really that much to brag home about. Nix has been kind of crap. This is no brain. Like who'd you be playing over Drake May this week other than Josh Allen? Maybe Dave Daniels.
Maybe Justin Fields against Dallas.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Justin Herbert, I'd probably play as well.
Yeah, that's good too. Okay.
But like that's like it's like, would you go Drake May or Kyler Murray?
Drake May.
Drake May.
Kyler Murray or sorry, taking the or.
Right. Would you go Jared Goff or Drake May? Jared Goff
one's-
gets the Bengals. That's the tough one.
I love me some Drake May.
So yeah, I mean, and then to the question, Bo Nix or Drake May? Like, it's the answer. The answer is Drake May. Bo Nix might have a good game. Like, Bo Nix is a good quarterback, but Drake May, like you said, John, the Bills' defense isn't anything that you're particularly like pivoting against. Drake May can rush the ball. He's got that rushing floor. Like, yeah, I like Drake May.
Yeah, the Bills have allowed, albeit Justin Fields and Lamar Jackson were two of them, but also Spencer Rattler, 3 quarterbacks and 4 matchups to go for at least 49 rushing yards on the ground. Something that May is probably going to have to use. I'm sorry, I had a stat in the preview on it, but I'm brain farting. I think that May gets it done. I think that his top target will be I'm sorry. The Bills cover the tight ends well, and that's Drake May's bread and butter. That said, I still think Drake May is good enough to get to his best options, which is Stephon Diggs and his feet on the ground. So I think that there's going to be a lot of rushing for Drake May and a lot of Stephon Diggs in this one in his return to Buffalo for the first time.
And although John thinks Stephon Diggs is a loser, I think he's coming around. You know, again, he tore his ACL last year. We're in week 5 now. Like I think he's starting to be utilized more. I think I saw some stat off the top of my head. I can't remember, but so yeah, like the options are going to be there. I think in New England, and worst case scenario, he'll probably rush for 50 yards. I think you said they give like an average of 49 or something. And you gave the 2 caveats, which are really big caveats, right? Like the 2 best rushing quarterbacks in the league. But yeah, it's a safer floor and a higher ceiling because of the matchup.
Okay, hear about this. I think Drake May is going to be the QB1 this week.
QB1.
I would play Drake. I wouldn't play Drake May over Josh Allen, but if I had odds like plus 250 that he'd have more fantasy points, I'd take it. Although, okay, last question.
I like that.
Kalel, morning guy, need help RB1, Genty or Javante? Oh my God. Thumbs up and subscribe. Oh wow, you my man. I love that. Okay, we're gonna give you a couple minutes because you gave us a thumbs up and the check mark. Your boy Genty, Nathan, right? He had 3 touchdowns last week, 2 through the air. It really looked like he kind of, was it the stance? He's allowed to stand up now? Is this easy? Is this tough?
It was a Bears matchup who's a little bit more movable up front than some of the early matchups we had in the season, and the Raiders got some push, but a lot of unfortunately, a lot of Genty's big runs that he was able to rip off were running behind Colton Miller, who we just lost on injured reserve for the next 4 weeks. So that hurts what was already one of the worst run blocking offensive lines in the league. And you have such a high upside case for Javonte here against the Jets, who should just continue to keep doing what he's doing. I would just ride the matchup and the positive environment for Javonte over Genty. But I know that. Just know that the explosiveness and the reps will be there for Genty. Just the offensive line is so bad that it's impossible to trust.
Wow, you're benching Genty after 3 touchdowns. Okay, you're the Raiders fan. Okay.
Just in this case, there's a line, but I would play Javonte over Genty.
Anthony, you subscribe to this? Thumbs up? Check mark?
So I think the question I have is, if this is your RB1, like, why can't you just play both? like, why don't you just play both of them? Like, who's the other running back that you?
Good point.
like, who's the other running back here? Like, do you have like Derrick Henry, who, although a couple of weeks, you're probably still starting Derrick Henry, right? Like, is it like Jahmyr Gibbs, Jonathan Taylor? Like, who is this other Mr. running back that we don't know about that you've got to pick between one of these guys? But to answer the question, I think I also lean Javonte Williams.
Oh, wow, that's just
It's kind of gross, I know, but like dude, like if this like other running back, like I said, it just has to be incredible. If like you're you're benching one of these guys, but yeah, I'd lean Javante. I think Nathan makes a good point about Colton Miller.
For what it's worth, too, Raiders are 7.5-point dogs, and the Cowboys are 1.5-point favorites.
Okay.
Expect the running back usage to favor Javante in that instance, too.
Javante's just been so good. He's just been so good. I've been hanging on to him in a dynasty league since his rookie year, and I've thought about selling low so many times.
Like what's low for like a half a bagel?
Man, he was people would just try to get me like to throw him in an offer just to kind of push like over the top, and I'm like, I just can't do it yet. I just can't, and I'm really glad I didn't, because like this is the Javante I think that we were expecting when he came out of college, and so I just keep riding it. Just keep riding it.
Okay. Last question. Eric Figueroa. I love that. Rock bottom has built more heroes than privilege. That's badass. So I might get that tattoo. I got offered Genti and Olave for Hampton. Do I take it?
He followed up with his running back and receiver room. The running backs he has are Bijan, Bucky, Pollard, and Rashad White. And then he has Nico Sutton and Devonta.
Both are good. Well, Nathan, you're the Raider. Would you take Genti? Because you said the O-line sucks. I mean, I think I don't want a part of that O-line.
Yeah, like if you have a chance to get off of Genti and to get on to someone like, I'm sorry, you're offered Genti. Yeah, I would hold Hampton, just because like absorbing just that headache of whether or not you should start Genti with that O-line every week, versus getting the automatic start in Hampton.
And his floor is non-existent, right? It might be 18 carries for 36 yards, right? So it's just, yeah, I don't think you can do it. And I think you can't trade Hampton.
I'm gonna hold Hampton. Hampton is a guy I think you try to trade for at this point, even though you're probably trading high. Like there's with Harris out for the year with the torn Achilles, like there's just it's going to be Hampton, and it's going to be more Hampton. It's going to be more Hampton, and then they'll throw the ball, and it'll be more Hampton. But I do think that like I do think it's a good offer. But I just probably wouldn't do it either.
Another thing to consider with like Raiders fantasy options right now is Geno Smith is killing this team's momentum with these turnovers sometimes. Like anytime you start, like you're just losing opportunities, you're losing scoring drives, you're losing all sort of momentum, that versus like having a running back with a quarterback like Justin Herbert, who tends to take care of the football and keep drives alive, and just keep your running back on the field.
Okay.
Real quick, if you're looking to get like a wide receiver, like if that's kind of what this offer came about, because you're looking to add a wide receiver, because Nico Sutton and Devonta, I mean, Sutton's been your best receiver, so you're probably kind of disappointed. I would probably, like, if a team is maybe a little desperate and needs like a running back start this week, if you can get it in the next hour, I'd probably try to trade Rashad White for another receiver, even though you have Bucky. Like that's what I would do, is try to take advantage of someone that is desperate for a running back start and see if you can offload that for a wide receiver too.
Okay, well, Drew Johnson's the last question. Oh wow, a nice little wedding pick, man. Congrats. I got offered Tet for Woody and DJ Moore. I mean, just getting rid of DJ Moore sounds great, even though you're getting nothing for him. I mean, but you get to sell high on Woody, right? I kind of like that.
I think if you have the running back depth outside of Woody, which you probably do, right? Unless obviously there's injuries and bye weeks. Yeah, then I think you take this deal. I think it's a good deal.
Because otherwise you're just starting DJ Moore every week and regretting it, right?
Yeah. So, I think if you're struggling at running back, though, I probably hold on to Woody, because I think there's a pretty decent chance that Woody Johnson is just a strong running, or Woody Marks is just a strong running back too the rest of the season.
Yeah, in the second question, he's asking between Woody, White, and Rico at the flex, so that should imply he's got 2 starting running backs ahead of those guys. So he should be pretty set, although White and Rico may not have rest of season upside with their starters returning, and Woody should kind of just be usurping the lead role. to
Yeah.
hold on to.
I just said the Texans O-line's terrible. I just don't want any part of these running backs with bad O-lines. They get tackled by the line of scrimmage. I feel like the injury risk is higher.
Woody's a pass catching back though. If this is any sort of PPR league, like he does, he's a good pass catcher. So, but yeah, I'd probably take the deal. And then for your second question, I would flex Rico Dowdle. Even if you kept Woody Marks, I would flex Rico Dowdle.
Okay, great. All right, that's gonna do it for us, guys. Thanks Nathan, thanks Anthony, thanks everyone for watching. Make sure you jump over to YouTube next time. Give us a like, subscribe, do the whole thing. If you got any questions we didn't get to or something, just hit us up on Twitter or jump over to the Discord. That's always great. Until then, we'll be back Tuesday, Thursday, and the next week. Any last words, last advice, any stat you guys didn't get out that you wanted?
My survivor pool team is the Colts this week. That's it. So let's go Colts.
Great. Nathan, nothing?
Stream Tommy Tremble.
Okay, great. I love that. I love the little last.
I might take that advice in the league. I'm struggling for a tight end, so I might follow that.
I'm about to go